FA Cup final, and Hatchin! What a magnificent goal!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live All Things Sky Blue YouTube/podcast show with myself, Mark Smith. We're joined by two guests tonight. We've got Cameron Cairns as usual, and Glenn Watkin will be coming on for about 15-20 minutes. So before we bring them on, I'm just going to get a bit of the housekeeping out of the way. We are proudly sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications for all your fabrication needs across Coventry and the Warwickshire area. We're partnered by the Sky Blue Tavern and Dillon's Brewery, and we're teamed up with the Sports Social Podcast network, and also we are sponsored by Sky and Friends Dog Walking and Pet Services. So the theme of tonight is obviously we'll talk about yesterday's very important 2-1 win against Stoke City, and also we'll also talk about the earlier in the week we won another 2-1 win against Sheffield United. So we'll review both games, and so without further ado, I'll bring on Cameron, and we've got Glenn as well. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good evening, Mark. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing okay.
Good. Yes, good. Thank you. Right, we'll talk about the Stoke game a bit later on, but I want to sort of go back to early in the week. We haven't reviewed the Sheffield United game. Really, really important 2-1 win. Looking at the game, it was an unchanged side for the West Brom match. And first half, Cameron, the start of you. I would say we were probably second best. I thought it was a very, very open half, but I think Sheffield United would probably have the better to play. What was your thoughts on the game or the first?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, and I think they were probably the better team for the majority of the second half too. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I think we were bad. I don't think we were bad. I just think Sheffield United were very good on the day. We just did what we needed to do. It's just when we're under so much pressure, stay in the game. They got their breakthrough early on in the second half, which was disappointing, but the response is what I'm really proud of. First half, it looked like, oh, okay, this could be a struggle, and when they got their breakthrough, I'm like, okay, this could be a long night. But then that response to get those goals as quickly as we did, those two quick fire goals, one from Hadji Wright, one from Rudoni, both were set up by F1 Mason Clark. I think that's a champion's performance. We weren't on top for most of that game. Sheffield United were the better side for a lot of it, but we dug in, we defended really well, stayed in the game, took our chances, and walked away with 3 points. Most weeks, Sheffield United, performing like that, are going to win most of their games. But we stayed in the game. We stayed in the game, took our chances, and got an important 3 points at a very difficult place to go.
Very much so, yeah. They've beaten Ipswich, although they did lose to Middlesbrough as well. But yeah, very, very good side. I think they're definitely a team that shouldn't be nowhere near where they are in the league. They should be, at the very least, be pushing for playoffs, but that looks unlikely. Glenn, what's your take on sort of the first half and the match in general?
I thought basically what happened, we did to Sheffield United what probably QPR and to a degree Norwich did to us. Previous games, when they went 1-0 up, they kind of went chasing the second, and we picked them off. We capitalised on their mistakes and two really good finishes. I think obviously now it's come to light that Cooper picked up a knee injury first half, and that may be why he didn't get down as well for the Hadji Wright's goal, because you'd think a keeper of his quality should really be saving Wright's first shot. It's a good shot, but it's straight under him really. But I thought even in the first half, although Sheffield United were the better side, I thought we had some good chances. Hadji Wright's had two that really he should do better with. And I think a lot of their attempts were pot shots. I think Bamford had that one chance where he's missed it. But then I thought second half, I thought Hamer faded out the game, O'Hare did, and Bamford. And it wasn't really till Tyrese Campbell came on and they kind of went a bit more direct that it really capitalised. But I thought we were solid, did a great job. Rushworth Mr. Consistent. You're thinking Hamer's going to cause him a problem with a shot or a set piece, and he was really solid. So, yeah, massive 3 points at a ground where we never normally do well, much like the Hawthorn. So, yeah, it turned a good week into a great week.
What about Cameron? What about the refereeing on that game? There was a couple of contentious decisions which went our way. The first one was Mason Clark allegedly fouling their player. In my opinion, it wasn't a penalty. And secondly, there was Tyrese Campbell running in on goal where Bobby Thomas has allegedly tripped him. What was your view on it? Do you think the referee got it right?
I think they're both very close, but I think the referee did with the first one. I don't think it was a penalty. If that was given a penalty, I think that would have been really, really soft. I think in most situations you give the defender the benefit of the doubt. It needs to be clear and obvious. For Tyrese Campbell, I've not watched it back, so my opinion might change when I watch it back. But it didn't look like a penalty to me. I don't think there was much contact, or if there was contact, it was very minimal and not enough to warrant going down and chasing a penalty. So I think the booking for diving is harsh because if there's contact and he goes down, but I think the referee was right on both occasions, but very, very marginal.
Yeah, I think the first one for me was all what's happened really is Mason Clark is basically touched him in the shoulder, not a push, nothing like that. It's just, I wouldn't even say a grab. It's just like a touch of the shoulder like that. As I'm sort of actioning it there. The player for me, there's no reason why they'd fall down for that. That just seems ludicrous. Campbell one I thought was a closer one. I think what could have swayed the referee in giving that as a penalty was the fact that Bobby Thomas kind of just swung his right leg a little bit. But I don't think what was not conclusive for me was the real contact. And Fraser felt that he was tripped. Glenn, what was your view looking at that game? If he's trying to take a Sky Blue Tim glass off like we all do, what was your view? Was you heart in mouth, or was you confident that he wasn't going to give it?
The first one, Seriki, isn't a penalty. I think he was already on his way down. The Campbell one, I can see why the ref gave it as a dive. Obviously, after multiple different angles and photos that Sheffield United fans have posted over social media, there is certain angles where it looks like there's contact. I know the angle where I looked at it, it looked like when Campbell planted his foot, his right foot gave way on him, whether the turf or something. So I really, really couldn't tell. And I don't think he helped himself with the way he went down. But yeah, it would have been interesting if there was VAR, I would say, because VAR would microscope analysis it. I think looking at the angle, if the ref had the angle that I watched it from, I can see why he didn't give it as a penalty. I agree with Cameron. Maybe him being booked for a dive was harsh, but I'm guessing the COF players' reaction kind of led the ref to having to book him because Grimes and Bobby Thomas were quite adamant that it was a dive on it. They weren't clear penalties like Wilder made out and went on his usual ref bashing rant about nonsense like the ref telling his the analysis for Sheffield United to sit in a different place than where they were sitting before. You know, I mean, it's just he loves whinging about and deflecting the blame. So I thought it would have been very harsh to give it. Premier League, maybe it might have been given, but if you can't say definitively after seeing it 3 or 4 times that it definitely is, and no one on Sky could definitively say. And I've seen different people have different views on it. So, yeah, you can't give it if you're not 100% sure.
No, I think there was too much. I think there was an element of doubt there. But it could have been given, as I say. I thought Bobby Thomas could have given the referee a decision to make. Just the way he moved his leg, I don't believe it was in an effort to tackle a player, but it could have been perceived as that. But I didn't think there was any real contact. So I think, the referee, I thought, and for this, like in all games in the Championship, they only get one look at the instant, so they don't have the benefit of VAR like they do in the Premier League. And he went with that decision. I thought he got it spot on. Of course, Chris Wilder's not going to be happy about it. It's a big moment in the game, the 2-1 up. There's not that long to go, and that would have been a big, big decision. But fortunately, it went our way. Another point I want to bring up about refereeing, Cameron, is, and we saw this yesterday as well with, look, I'll be honest about this. It's not just other teams that do this, but we do it as well with Carl Rushworth, is the goalkeepers going down injured to almost waste time. What's your view on that? That's the sort of thing that's crept into the game. Do you think something needs to be done about it? Maybe to change the laws in the next season with regards to maybe an outfield player possibly getting taken off for 30 seconds if that sort of thing happens. There's got to be some kind of terror to stop this, because this has really been frustrating me the hell out of me. Just speak as a football fan more than as a Coventry fan.
It's hard to say, because with an outfielder, if they're going out for treatment, they have to obviously go off the pitch for like 30 seconds or whatever it is. But with the goalkeeper, it's quite hard to do that, because, well, if you take them off, there's no goalkeeper. So I think it's a very hard situation to police. And at the same time, if you just go, oh, he's faking it, give him a booking, that sets a bad precedent. Because what if somebody's legitimately injured and you've booked them, even though they were legitimately injured? So I think it's a very difficult one to police. I think it's one of them where it stays in the game. Is it in good spirit of the game? No, but I think it'll stay in the game just because it's a very hard situation to police.
What's your thoughts on that, Glenn?
I think there's two things. Obviously, I remember the Sheffield United goalkeeper, Cooper, at the home game going down. And obviously, he quite clearly had a problem with his back because he did come off at half-time. So then you've got somebody who is genuinely injured, but you then fall into that, well, maybe he's time wasting too. The Simkin one yesterday where nobody was around him and he went down. And it was silly. I didn't get the logic in it, because I felt second half Stoke had kind of negated us as an attacking threat, and them doing that in time wasting just wound the crowd up and got us going again. And I think it was counterproductive. I think the best way, I think the solutions I've heard is, if there is a stop and play for a goalkeeper or any outfield player, they don't go over to the sidelines to the bench, and it's down to the fourth official. They just say go stand in the centre circle, because that prevents it being a tactical timeout, is what they've been doing. I mean, we can't really talk because Rushworth did it against Sheffield United, but I think if you get, there's ways of doing it where it's not so blatantly obvious. I think, like back to the Wolves game with Jose Sarr, I think it was quite clear to Cov fans that there'd been some form of signal that was sent from the Wolves bench to him to go down. And I think that's the thing. If at least they're like, if Simkin had gone down, maybe said like it was his hand, or it was like pretending he'd hurt a finger or something, then it was. But there was no contact at all, and he wasn't blatantly injured. But then, like I say, I think the Forest game, Ortega pulled something and was genuinely injured, and then you could think the same about that, couldn't you? So it's really a grey area. But I think the best way would be to say, you all go and stand in the centre circle. Anyone who goes over to the sidelines, it's an automatic yellow card, and that's the best way of dealing with it, I think.
Yeah, no, I'll be interested to see what the lawmakers make if they stamp it out. Maybe they might do something with the World Cup this year. Maybe they may bring something to play. So I'm just very interested to see what happens there. I think the broader point for me is it's happening too often now in this game, and I include Carl Rushworth. All keepers do it. They're trying to gain an advantage for your team. I just think that needs to be stamped out for me. I don't think that's a side of the game I particularly like. But we'll wait. We'll see what happens in the future on that one. But going back to the game, Cameron, the form of Jack Rodoni for me he's been really, really good. He's probably seeing the best of him now, aren't we? He's the sort of form that he was playing last season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's above anything. I think it's psychological because I think the loss of form was because either was he playing with an injury or was it that he wasn't trusting his body because of the injuries that he sustained? But he stayed fit. He can now trust his body, and I think we're seeing a lot more of him. But like I've noticed when he was off form, he was just passing the ball at the very first chance he could get because he didn't really want to carry the ball. He didn't believe his body could handle it. But now he's taking people on again. He's controlling games, and he's coming up with important goals, and he's still creating chances. And this form of Rudoni, he's very hard to stop, and he is coming into form at the perfect time. We got that big win against Middlesbrough. I thought he was fantastic in that game. I thought he was fantastic against West Brom. He got that absolute peach of a goal. He scored against Blades, and now he scored against Stoke. When Jack Rudoni is firing and fit, he's a very, very hard footballer to stop. And when you've got players like Victor Torp and Josh Eccles who are on the bench and they're struggling to get in the 11 because Rudoni's getting back to his best. On Yeka, we know how very good he is. Matt Grimes, he's just like the puppet master of that midfield. It's very hard for two really, really good midfielders to get him to the 11 because all three of our main central midfielders are fit and firing.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just like counter attack. He's got that bit of burst of pace now, and he gets past players quite easily now, and he also provides some good assists. He brings other players into play from an attacking point of view, and he's scoring goals. Obviously, like yesterday. Glenn, I mean, what's your take on Rudoni? Do you think for me, he's been I think our key player going forward last couple of years. There's been a number of players performing well, but he in particular has really stood out for me.
Yeah, I think we first saw signs. I think it was Stoke away in the FA Cup. There was a glimmer of him getting back to some semblance of his form. I think he had that shot where he hit the bar. And then I think now it's 3 goals and 4 assists in the last 10 games. So that's pretty good. And obviously he scored in 3 successive games for us. He just looks much more happy in himself. He doesn't seem to obviously just be playing within himself. So obviously the shoulder injury. I don't think we're never going to know how much of a hindrance it is. And obviously with a calf thing, I would imagine he was just wary of it going again because he knows how key he is to us. And obviously he stepped up, he's back on corners. I think that's a massive thing. And he's getting himself in the box, in higher areas to cause havoc, which is what he's best at. And yeah, it wasn't the greatest shot in the world for the winning goal, but he was there to get it, and he made his own look and he hit it on target. And yeah, although time seemed to freeze, like it happened with O'Hare's goal at Wembley against Man United, it was like, oh, is it going in, isn't it? But I think he deserved it. He's just such an integral part to our play, and when he's on it, we look a different team.
What do you put it down to? The fact that he's regained his form? Is it the fact that maybe the fact we had quite a bit of a break up until the Middlesbrough game, and maybe Lampard had a bit of time to work the players? What do you think's changed between? Because early this season we didn't really see the best of Rudoni. Why all of a sudden now he starts to play well? What do you think could have changed?
I think it could be a combination of the two factors that maybe we had a little break and you get an extra day or two to work with the players and analyze what's been going on. Why aren't you at your best? And most importantly, how are you feeling physically? Is your calf holding up? Is your shoulder holding up? Yeah, okay. Trust your body. So there's a chance that he might have done physical drills. Okay, I still feel good. And I think that's led to him regaining his confidence. And this form of Rudoni, like I said, he's hard to stop. So just keep him fit and firing, and I think we'll see this form continue.
Yeah, well, it's long may it to continue. I'm really, really pleased he's back on form, and a fit and firing Jack Rudoni is always a massive bonus. Okay, let's get some of our comments from our audience. Thank you for your comments, and please keep them coming in. Assassins Unite 3434. What a win on Saturday! 5 wins, I feel, is all we need. We're in touching distance now. He's also gone to say that Super Frank celebrations at the end of the game were memorable. he also said that Redoni was superb yesterday. I tend to agree with that. Wayne Brewerton, evening Wayne, Ryan Brewerton 8183. How many wins do you think we need to be champions? Cameron, we'll go for you and we'll go to Glenn after.
I reckon so. There's 11 games left. I reckon at least 6 more. 6 more. That's 18 more points, and we're already on 71.
Yeah.
So 18 more. That takes us to 89 points, and then obviously additional points for draws. I think that would be enough to secure the title, if you ask me. But one game at a time. Like, it's very volatile. Like, the expected amount could be 92 one week, and then because with all the top sides have had a bad weekend, it'll be like 87 or something. So it's hard to say. But if you ask me right now, I'll say 6.
Okay. Glenn, what's your gut feel on the amount of points we need to be champ? Even promotion. Let's forget about champions. Just get promoted. What do you say that number?
I would say I think about 86/87 with our goal difference, because it's still better than everyone else's, even Ipswich's by a decent amount, although they did claw a bit back on us with a 3-0 win yesterday. But I just think, looking at Ipswich, they've got Hull, they've got Borough, they've got Millwall. I think if they just drop a few points here and there, I think 86/87 will get you top 2. I think 90 would get us the title, really, and we could still do 100 goals and we could do 100 points, really. That's still not impossible. It's not like, with the running games we've got. But yeah, I think my aim at the moment is keep the winning run going. We've got four games before the international break. If we can get 4 more wins, we're nearly there, really. We're going to be on 83 points.
Yeah,
so 83 points. So you're near enough there, aren't you? You're going to have to do something spectacular to stumble over the line to miss out. But yeah, I just can't see Ipswich, Millwall or Hull or Borough winning 10 out of 11 or 10 out of 13 or whatever how many games are going. I think that's just so unlikely with how the championship is.
Yeah. I think 85/86. I think you're going to be. I think that should get a second spot. But I think to win the league, I'd say anything over 90 points is what I would be thinking. And I think it's definitely achievable with the games we've got left. I would say, on paper, the 2 hardest games for me are Southampton and Wrexham. I think they're 2 good sides, and they'll be tough games. I think away from home, you could say the whole game and maybe the Swansea game could be tricky games. But we're definitely good enough to win those games. So hopefully that they will end up with Coventry City wins. Let's just go back to yesterday's game, Cameron, with the team lineup. One change, Romain Esse came to the team in place of Sakamoto. What was your take on that team yesterday? Do you think, was it a case of Sakamoto just needed a rest? Why he wasn't in the team?
Yeah, I think so. Just a little bit of squad rotation. It wasn't like it was wholesale change. It was just like, the odd change just to keep it somewhat fresh. I thought Esse came in and did okay. He had moments. He had a couple of good moments where he put in a good cross. He attempted a bicycle kick, which I think bounced off one of our own players. And there was also elements of his rawness, but I think he came in, he did a job. We can see the talent he has on display. And Sakamoto came on, and he also did his bit. Kept shape really well. And I think it's a compliment to Sakamoto that in recent games he's been starting over Esse, because I've said before, Esse has all this buckets of talent, but Sakamoto's experience in certain games has also been vital. So I think just the fact that you can just swap 2 out and they can both have a positive impact. You got Sakamoto, he already knows the championship, he's an experienced now. Esse, he's this young kid eager to impress. I think it's a really good problem to have on that right-hand side, and same on the left-hand side with Ephraim Mason-Clark. If Mason-Clark can't play a full game or can't start, you've got Thomas Asante, who is very versatile. You can play him on the right, the left as a 10, even as a number 9. You can put Thomas Asante on the left wing, and he can do a job there as well. So in terms of winger department, just in general, we've got a lot of great options, but especially on the right-hand side, I think Esse and Sakamoto are quite interchangeable, but in a good way.
Yeah. We took the lead, Glenn, through Haji Wright's header from a Jada Silva cross. I thought first half we were absolutely superb, apart from the fact that we didn't extend the lead and we conceded the goal literally the last kick of this first half, which for me was a massive head scratcher. What was your sort of thoughts overall in the first half?
I always felt when it was 1-0 that Stoke had enough in them to create a chance. Looking at all the games we played against them recently, that I didn't ever think we were going to blow them away. And yeah, there was just some really frustrating good moments. I know Mason Clark cut in and Simpkin kind of shoveled it wide. Haji Wright had one where Simpkins pushed it out and then Haji Wright hit the rebound and hit the outside of the post. And yeah, it was very much here we go again. But you've got to be fair to Stoke. They hung in the game. And Sorba Thomas, that was an absolute cracking delivery. And they just took the one opportunity that they had. And there was just a couple of half chances they had where it just started turning on us. But overall, I don't think we can really hammer the lads for the overall performance. I think it was really good. I thought Jada Silva was absolutely brilliant again. And yeah, I thought that as a collective, we've played worse than won. I think that was the thing, and we just found a way to get over the line. But yeah, I think that was the only really spell that Stoke caused us any problems. Was maybe the last 10 minutes of the first half. Besides that, there were a non-existent attacking threat on us, really.
Yeah, I was just very frustrated with how he conceded the goal. I thought, first of all, Haji Wright gave away a really needless corner. And then I think it's Lewis Gibson who scores for them. Or Ben Gibson, I can't remember his name. I think it's Gibson. I know his name's Gibson. Ben Gibson, yeah. Thanks, Ben Gibson. I think Matty Grimes loses Matty Grimes in that near post. And I think that's the disappointing thing, was just lack of concentration. We lost that sort of, I guess, duel, so to speak, and we conceded that goal. But overall, a really, really good performance. But I thought Cameron, their goalkeeper, Simpkin, was outstanding that first half. As Glenn said earlier, with those saves, I thought he did really well at that point of the game, of course.
Yeah. I agree. He's been the number one for a while because of Victor Hansen being injured, and with us knowing how good Victor Hansen is at this level, that is really, really big shoes to fill. But I think he's been quite impressive in the interim. He's had pretty good games in the Stoke goal. While I would say Stoke do miss Johansson, it doesn't mean Simpkins not done. He doesn't mean Simpkin hasn't done a good job. He absolutely has. He made some crucial saves. I think that Mason Clark shot, initially I started thinking, maybe if Mason Clark got some height, but I think I realised, hang on, I think I've done the goalkeeper a disservice. That was a cracking save. And he made some cracking saves. And had it not been for that late winner from Rudoni, Simpkin probably would have got man of the match. And if he did, I wouldn't have begrudged it, because I think Rudoni got it. Football gave it to De Silva, but if we didn't get that winner and Simpkin was given man of the match, I wouldn't have had any complaints, because that was a man of the match performance from Simpkin.
Yeah. I thought in terms of second half, Glenn, I thought Stoke were better in terms of they were trying to press us quite high up. I thought they were quite good defensively, and we didn't really create many chances. The only thing I could think of was a Rudoni shot, which was saved by Simpkin. And I think that's pretty much. I think Ellis Sims had a shot that went blazed over. But was there a thought in that second half? You thought we're just not going to score today before obviously what happened next?
I felt we probably needed the subs a bit earlier than they came on. Obviously, I thought as soon as Onyeka went off, we kind of had a 10-minute spell, maybe 15-minute spell where we just didn't flow as we can do. And then everything was just like half chances. We had that one where Haji Wright's got the ball and then just gone. He didn't knock it round Simpkin, and Simpkins dived and pushed it, and it was probably never a penalty, but it was just one of those 50-50s that didn't drop for us. And then there was just a couple of scrambles in the box where it never really fell for us. And yeah, you do think, oh no, it's going to be one of those days. But like me and Dad always say, to each other. If it goes into stoppage time at the CBS, you know we're always going to get one chance. And I think the thing with Simkin is, I just think he makes a total mess of the kick, but he should have just absolutely flattened Sims and took the risk of getting a second yellow and being off. Because if he does that, they probably get a point, because we didn't really cause them that much of a threat from set pieces, and it's probably game over then. So I think maybe it's just a bit of naivety from him. And yeah, it was just one time it dropped for us, and we had a bit of luck with Gibson. I think it was Gibson, or was it Wilmot it hit and trickled in. But yeah, I think we deserved it overall on the balance of play. But yeah, second half we weren't as good creatively, and we just lost it. And I think the subs probably should have been 10, 15 minutes earlier than Frank brought them on.
I thought, Cameron, that Ellis Sims had a bit of credit for that goal as well. The way that he never gave up. He put the keeper under pressure, which then forced a mistake out of him. And obviously the rest is history. Rodoni's strike. I didn't know Rodoni's strike was even going in. I think if it wasn't for that deflection, I reckon that could have been going wide.
Possibly. I do think Ellis Sims, when he came on, I thought he'd done well. He was chasing balls, even chasing some lost causes. He never stopped running. And I think what I like about Sims is, whether he's having a high scoring season or a low scoring season, what you get from him motivated is he will chase everything, and he will try and use his physical presence. And whether Sims is getting 20 goals in a season, or if he's getting just 5 in a season, what you get from him is physicality. What you get from him is other attackers who I think play better because of Ellis Sims. He can create space for others who can go into those spaces and cause attacks. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I think he does that really, really well. And he's not scored in a while, but to be fair, I've not really been bothered, because I think the effort is still there, and I know that the goals are going to come his way.
Yeah, I think it will. I don't think he's done. I think he's had a decent season, Ellis Sims. I don't think he's had a bad season. He's contributed to the success of the side. So, I think it's just the fact that Haji Wright is definitely Lampard's man at the moment, and why not? Haji Wright has been scoring goals. He's been playing very well, very, very well at the moment, and he deserves his spot in the team. But Ellis Sims, for me, coming on a sub, I agree with what Glenn says. I think he could have come on maybe at least 5 or 10 minutes earlier, but it doesn't matter. We got the win, and that's all that matters. How big a boost, Glenn, psychologically is it that we're now over 70 points going to the start of March? That was massive, isn't it? Really, that yesterday.
Yeah, if you look, like I said, probably 2 weeks ago, we were really, really worried when the next win was going to come from, and we've totally transformed it now. 4 wins. Everyone else is now playing catch up, and if Middlesbrough slip up tomorrow against Birmingham, which is highly possible with Birmingham's home form, then obviously that really gives us an extra boost, and it doesn't matter what anyone else does if we keep winning. So yeah, we should be really, really proud of that win. It was a big win. Legends Day always has a bit of extra to it, and yeah, it was a massive 3 points. As the celebrations at the end showed with the players, I think they knew how big a win that was, because it was, 12 points in however many days it was. 4 games is a real good turnaround, and it's not easy to do in the Championship. No. So yeah, if we could back it up with another 4 wins, then we're near enough there, I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Cam, I love Sakamoto's celebration. I mean, it's been doing the rounds a bit on social media today, but the joy in his face really perfectly encapsulated the mood of the supporters. It was absolutely brilliant to see. You could see how much he loves playing for the Sky Blues.
Oh, absolutely. Sakamoto, like, how can you not love the guy? He's like, gives 100%, always gets on with it. A really, really tricky winger who's just so good to watch. He's been an absolute joy, and the passion behind him as well. I remember in that 23-24 season, we made a lot of big signings because we had Bakayoko and Heyman money. A lot of us probably didn't think much of a Sakamoto signing, because it's like, it's a 1.2 million from a relegated side from Belgium. God bless them, they ended up liquidating that season, and I do hope that they find their way if they've reformed. But I really hope he stays here forever, because
Yeah.
you couldn't find a nicer guy. The effort is always top notch. Even if he's not at the races, the effort is always there, and he's improving. Not to mention he's in his late 20s, entering his 30s, but he's still growing and developing. So I think even well into his 30s, he could still be an asset at a high level.
He's one of those players. He gives, well, first of all, he gives 100% every game. He's got 2 good feet. He can dribble. He can beat players. His crossing is great. But he can score headed goals as well. He can strike from distance. He's got everything in his locker. I mean, I suppose the broader question, Glenn, is if we were to be successful to get promoted to the Premier League, how many players would you say could do a job in the top flight if we were to get promoted?
Okay, I'm going to start with Rushworth, just because I think the first thing we should try and do is get Rushworth through the door. If we don't, we don't, but at least try to. Milan, I think Milan is already a Premier League player in my view. I think Bobby Thomas, I'm going to say Bobby Thomas because I think he's perfect for the kind of situation we would likely be in. Fighting to survive, we're not going to play it out from the back, we're just going to head it, clip it, use our physicality, and I think Bobby Thomas is perfect for that kind of role. I think Jada Silva might be a squad option. Matt Grimes may be boring on a squad option, but he absolutely stays. Onyeka, already a Premier League proven player. I think Sakamoto could be a squad option as well. I don't see why he couldn't be a squad option. Same with Ellis Simmons, which people might raise eyebrows at this, but he's played in Premier League before. I wouldn't expect him to score a lot of goals in Premier League, but like I said, with Thomas, he's a physical presence. He can hold up a ball. He can maybe chip in with a few, but like we'd have to sign these like high quality players, but at the same time, there's going to be players who we're going to need for squad option who know the culture. And I'm going to throw Josh Eccles in that as well, because I think Eccles would be kept on as a squad option. And lastly, I'm going to say Ben Wilson, because I think Ben Wilson would be the third choice. I think Ben Wilson's one of those players who he has a job here until he retires, just because he is like, in terms of like dressing room morale, he is at the front and centre.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Glenn, what's your take on
that? Yeah, I pretty much agree with everyone Cam said. I think if we went up, we would add quality. I don't think you'd see us signing like Sunderland did, which was rip the team up completely and sign a whole new team. And I wouldn't like us to do that, because I think we'd lose the magic that is our team spirit. I think you probably just like it improved the spine of the team. But yeah, I agree with pretty much obviously everyone Cam said. Obviously we've got Markello, who we've not really seen much of, and also then you've got a couple of others who have gone out on loan and see what happens with them. So like Callum Perry's been tearing it up at Rochdale. If you can get him a championship loan next season, he could be, if we go up, he could be someone who maybe have a chance in the Premier League. And we've got Isaac Moore the same. He was touted for a lot of Premier League clubs. So we've got some promising youngsters as well coming through. So that's a massive positive. But yeah, I think all majority of the squad, you could give them a go in the Premier League, and I don't think it'd be mass. Obviously, you even got Kai Andrews, who's been doing really well up in Scotland. So we'd have that ones that would be good little fringe players, wouldn't be direct starters. But yeah, I think we do well. Just on a note about Rushworth, I was having this conversation, obviously, because the rumour was that Brighton want him to go back as their first choice. In the current Premier League, which keepers do you think that Rushworth's better than? Because I think there's about 5 or 6 I'd have him above at Premier League clubs.
Sanchez, going by his performance today also.
Yeah, that was what I thought of as well.
Vicario at Tottenham,
I think
maybe?
he'd be I think he'd be the number one at Leeds, because Lucas Perry's not long been dropped for Carl Darlow. I do like Carl Darlow, very, very good experienced keeper, but he wasn't intended to be the number one, so potentially Leeds. And back to the Premier League question. I do apologise, but I still think we'll have to like make 10 to 12 signings because we'd have to, otherwise we would absolutely go straight back down. But at the same time, get those quality signings. But at the same time, I still want some continuity, and that's what I'm saying with likes of Thomas, De Silva, Grimes, Eccles, Wilson, and Sakamoto, and Sims. They can still be at the club because you still need continuity on top of the new signings.
Yeah. Well, let's we kind of broached subjects of loans, and I think that takes us nicely into the loan watch.
Indeed, it does. Starting off, Raphael returned from injury to start for Wigan yesterday. He played the first half before being withdrawn in the second half. Wigan beat Huddersfield 1-0 to climb out of the League One relegation zone. Unfortunately, David Mantle did not feature in Maidenhead's 1-0 defeat to Chippenham, as he sustained a lateral collateral ligament injury in his knee. The estimated recovery time is usually around 4 to 12 weeks, so that could be a season ender, but he might be back if they make the playoffs. Brad Collins completed the full 90 minutes for Burton Albion as they suffered a 3-0 defeat to to Wycombe Wanderers. He did unfortunately perform howler for one of those goals, and Burton do remain outside the relegation zone. Callum Perry completed the full 90 for Rochdale as he beat Aldershot 2-0 away from home, as Rochdale remains second in the National League due to York City's late winner away to Morecambe. He also played the full 90 midweek as Rochdale suffered a disappointing 2-2 draw against Halifax Town. Greg Sandiford played the full 90 for Bedford Town as they lost 2-0 to Darlington in National League North action. And he also played the full 90 midweek as Bedford beat Peterborough Sports 4-1. Harvey Broad played 45 minutes for Dagenham and Redbridge before being withdrawn at half-time as they lost 2-0 to AFC Totton in the National League South. He also played the full 90 midweek as they beat Chesham 1-0. Kai Yearn completed 74 minutes for Chesham yesterday as they drew 1-1 with league leaders Dorking. Chesham sit just outside the playoffs in 8th. Kai Yearn was also an unused substitute midweek in a 1-0 defeat to Dagenham and Redbridge. Riley Siddle completed over 90 minutes before being withdrawn in added time as he also opened the scoring for Gloucester City, and they went on to beat Paul 2-1, and they stay second in the Southern League Premier South. Josh Talawaju completed 75 minutes for Stratford Town as they fell to a 2-0 defeat against Bury Town in the Southern League Premier Central. He also played 74 minutes as Stratford drew against Banbury. Norman Bissett completed the full 90 minutes for Kaiserslautern as they fell to a 2-1 defeat against Paderborn. Kaiserslautern remains 6th in the second Bundesliga. Kai Andrews come off the bench for Hibernian in an entertaining draw away to Dundee at Dens Park. Kai Andrews got the assist for his third goal, which was scored by Jamie McGrath, which was Andrews' second goal contribution in 6 days after his winning goal against Celtic. But a late goal by Cameron Congreve for Dundee made it 2-point shot for David Grayside and a valuable point for Stephen Presley's men. Hibs remained 5th in the Scottish Premiership. Aidan Dowse completed the final 25 minutes for Scunthorpe as they recovered from a 2-0 deficit to go to 3-2 up against Solihull Moors, but a late goal for 10-man Solihull made it a point apiece. Dowse was also a substitute midweek, playing the final 17 as Scunthorpe suffered a 3-0 defeat to league leaders York City. And finally, my lone watch star of the week, Isaac Moore, played the full 90 minutes in the same game against Scunthorpe. They were 3-2 down, but it was Isaac Moore who got the late equaliser as he helped 10-man Solihull earn a crucial point away from home.
Excellent stuff. Good. That's good. Thank you very much, Cam, for that. Stay tuned for more Lone Watch on next week's show. Okay, just obviously news off the field this week were the club releasing its financial figures on the back of last season, I believe. Overall, I guess the main takeaway is turnovers increased to about £34 million, but an operating loss, I believe, was £9 million. Glenn, I'm not a financial expert, and I don't know if you are either, but £9 million loss, I mean, it's not fantastic news, but obviously things have changed since then with the acquisition of the ground, etc. Do you think Doug King is doing a good job so far with how the finances have been managed by the club?
Yeah, I think obviously we've not sold a big name player like we did obviously the season before last, where we shifted Hamer and Jokered. Obviously Ben Chief went earlier part of this summer. So yeah, we're not as relying on the Brentford model of bring the player through and sell him on. We've obviously got looking at more revenue streams. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see the accounts next year, to see how much the CBS deal in terms of expenditure has had an impact, and also how much extra money we brought in. I thought the fan village yesterday when I went into, they've restructured it. It's really good. Really liked it. I think the obviously plan for the Coventry music thing. I don't know what's Punjabi MC doing Coventry music for the Preston game. I think that's a great idea. I think that is a good way of kind of bringing other revenue in. Much as I'm pained that we've launched another kit, I do like the tagline, the worst kit ever. I do find it quite funny and quite smart. So I think you've got to give the marketing side a big thumbs up. And yeah, despite the fact I think the guy who came in as CEO, Paul Tyrrell's, actually left. I don't think he's actually been replaced yet. Nicola Ibbison and all the other people, Doug, whatever, doing a real good job. It's definitely a proper stadium. Obviously, we had a record attendance there. I think we're probably going to keep hitting that attendance now, moving forward for the rest of the season. I just can't, touch wood, wait to see what we do if we get the trophy and what plans I've got for a parade and whatever. And fair play to the former Players Association yesterday for Legends Day and all the players that turned up. I know like Michael Mifsud got a flight in at like 2 a.m. in the morning from Malta, and that's fair, real dedication. And I think some other people came down from like Scotland, like Ian Wallace, etc. It's really good to see them, and I'm glad they got the recognition that they all deserved. And yeah, good to see Liam Kelly back, and he got a round of applause that he fully deserved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was good to see that. I think Darren Huckabee was there yesterday as well, which was good to see. One of my sort of heroes of my era. So yeah, Cameron, what's your sort of feeling about the financial figures? I guess not great, but not as bad as other clubs, the Championship or even higher up in the Premier League. The clubs are making over £100 million losses in the Premier League, and clubs in the Championship, obviously not as much as that, but not great. But it's not in the world, is it? I guess it doesn't factor in, the acquisition of the ground and hopefully the potential Premier League football for next season.
Yeah, that's right. I think how the accounts work, it actually gives you the results from the season before. So the sale of Sheath and the ground acquisition, that'll be in next year's club accounts. 9 million. Obviously, we shouldn't celebrate a loss in any capacity, but I believe the regulation in the EFL is 39 million over a course of 3 years. So 9 million a year, that would be about 27 million. So you'd still be like 12 million in, although you're in the red, you're not in the danger zone. So you'd still have a little bit of leeway. And there's always like ways around it where you can sell a player to just be a little bit safer. But I don't think it's anything to worry about. It's not like teams who are like spending loads of money to chase the dream. I think we've been quite sensible with our spending. And not to mention that year on year, the wage bill is still going up and up and up because obviously not too long ago, Jada Silva signed a new deal, Liam Kitching signed a new deal, Milan signed a new deal. So in next season's some of next season's accounts, their increased wages will go up. So and with Milan, for example, I don't even think he was on 10,000 a week when he first signed. So I imagine he would have got a significant pay rise, and deservedly so. So I think looking at the wage bill relative to other club accounts, I think we've still got a bottom 6 Championship wage bill, which I think, in my view, makes our achievements that more impressive.
Yeah, I think it was 12,500 the average, the average wage. I think I'm sure that's what it's in the accounts, which isn't okay. It's a good amount of money, but compared to other clubs, I can't believe that's as you say, it must be the lowest. Surely.
Harry Winks is allegedly on 90 grand a week at Leicester, and he's not the only one who's on a substantial high amount of money there. I mean, I know they got relegated from the Premier League, but I mean that's ridiculous. And I know there's others. I think the rumours were that O'Hare was on upwards of 30 grand, maybe as high as 40 grand a week when he signed for Sheffield United. So yeah, that's probably like equivalent to maybe 3 or 4 players in our squad individual.
I think
wages.
our wage bill's less than. I think how much was our wage bill? Was it less than 17 million? If I could do the maths. If it's a 12,500 a week average and a squad of 25.
Keep talking away, and I'll have a quick look.
It's because I'm just trying to compare budgets, because even though we've got a bottom half wage bill, it's actually on par with like bottom half Bundesliga clubs or bottom half Serie A clubs. I think it just highlights how much money there is in the English game.
Yeah.
Speaking of foreign football, I've just seen a comment that says, "Let's all laugh at Celtic and Rangers. I already did that this afternoon, Shanklin 9."
Yeah, that's not one of your friends, is it, Cameron?
I hope not.
As you're a Scottish football fan.
Yeah. Please don't troll my colleagues, please.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so let's look ahead now to the next potential, let's say, 3 games. I'm going to discount Bristol City because I'm going to say they're going to win the FA Cup. So let's look at Preston, Southampton, Swansea. How many points do you think, Glenn, we can get out of those 3 games?
I don't know about Bristol City, because I think with their injury crisis, I think they're going to have to rest people against Port Vale, and Port Vale kind of just got a little bit of form together. I think they drew with Luton yesterday, so it wouldn't be the shock that I would have thought several weeks ago that they beat them. But yeah, I think logic would dictate that they will probably get by them. So I will say, in an ideal world, we'd like Port Vale to take Bristol City to extra time, and then Port Vale to win on penalties, and then we play them next Saturday when they're a bit cream crackered and they've got more injuries. But yeah, looking at the other ones, Preston, Southampton and Swansea, I think 6 points would be a decent return. Looking at two points a game. Preston, hope we'd win it, but they have a habit of always messing about with us. So yeah, it's going to be tough. But they've hit a bit of bad form. I think Southampton's interesting because they've hit good form, but their record against teams in the top 6 is very average, especially away from home. And then you've got Swansea, who are Jekyll and Hyde at home, really solid. Vipotnik's been on fire for them. Away from home, they look as bad as Sheffield Wednesday and some other teams that can't buy a win away from home. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I would take 6 points personally myself. I think I was looking at the 4 games combined, and I thought if we got 8 to 9 points from them, I would be very happy.
Yeah, Cameron, what's your go with? I'm going to go with the next 3 games being Preston, Southampton, and Swansea.
So assuming Bristol City get past Vale and obviously that game gets moved to a later date, I back us to beat Preston midweek. I think we're good enough. It won't be an easy game. Preston never is, but I think we've got it in us to beat them. I'll get to Southampton in a minute, but Swansea, they're quite Jekyll and Hyde. You give Vipotnik one opportunity, he will punish you. But if we can play at the levels we've been playing, I think we can get a result there. And with Southampton, it really depends, because I've noticed Southampton under their boss, they kind of have their form in blocks. They'll have a period of time where they're absolutely unstoppable and they'll beat absolutely everybody. Then they'll have a period where they drop a lot of points or they'll lose a fair few games. So depending on which block they're in terms of form, I think it might heavily impact the game. But saying that, I still back us to beat anybody at home. So I'm going to go with 7 points from 9 games. I think the draw will either come against Southampton or Swansea.
Yeah, I think 7 points as well. I'll go along with that. But we're good enough to get 9 points as well. But it's very interesting to see what happens. Okay, I think that wraps up tonight's show. So Cameron, Glenn, thank you for coming on and giving up your time as usual to appear on tonight's show. Thanks everyone listening for your comments. Hope you enjoyed the show. We should have a show later this week, depending on what the situation is, of course, with the Bristol City game. But we'll look to do a Preston preview show potentially next Sunday. But we'll let you know in due course as to what's happening. So yeah, thanks again. As I say, our show is sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications for all your fabrication needs across Coventry and the Warwickshire area. We are part of the Sports Social Network. We're also part of by The Anecdote and the Sky Blue Tavern, of course. And we're also sponsored by Sky and Friends Pet and Dog Walking Services. Please like and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel at All Things Sky Blue. Please follow us on X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and as I say, on YouTube as well. Thank you everyone for listening. Play up Sky Blues, and we will speak to you very, very soon. Good night.